Welcome back to Platinum Hunters Extra, the show where we get to take a look at all the oddities around trophy hunting, including unobtainable plats, game collecting, and in this case we're going to be talking about our first 25 episodes and where they rank in terms of difficulty. As you might notice, on each and every trophy guide I assign each platinum a difficulty ranking, and I'm going to be putting them on this tier list here so you can visualize to see which ones are the most difficult and how each game we've covered so far stacks up difficulty wise, and that way you can gauge maybe which one you want to do next. Now I'm going to go one by one and talk about each game and put them on the tier list and tell you what you need to know about each game and their platinum trophy. The next time we do this at 50 episodes, I think I'd like to do it live so I can get your input and you can let me know where you think they should place. But for this first video, I think I'm gonna just tell you where I think they display in the difficulty curve of these platinum trophies, and then you in the comment section you can let me know if I have something right or if I'm off based on anything. But let's start. So our very first episode of Platinum Hunters, the maiden voyage episode, is LittleBigPlanet, and that I gave a ranking of challenging. And a lot of people disagree with me. They think it's harder than this, and people think it's harder than the second game, which we'll talk about later in the video. But you gotta know that even though it is multiplayer heavy, a lot of those can be done by yourself, or if you have one person who can give you a hand, and it won't take you too long to do that stuff. Even the create mode stuff is not that long. What you do need to worry about is all the aces where you need to beat every story mode level without dying. That's difficult. And collecting 100% of the collectibles, which will eventually have you needing a couple people to help you get the last story bubbles. Next episode we got Astro's Playroom, which is going to be our first cakewalk game. This game is very easy and it's short. You'll only take you about 5 or 6 hours at most to platinum it. And even though you do have to get all 100% of the collectibles, a lot of them are just awesome PlayStation Easter eggs. And you'll get a lot of cool trophies for just interacting with the environment. Third episode, Ratchet and Clank. And this is the start of the PlayStation Plus collection where we're completing all 20 games and 22 plats that come from that collection. If you have a PS5, you know what I'm talking about. This is the first one, and what you need to worry about is there's 4 missable trophies, including the very infamous Death by Disco trophy, which always causes people to do an extra playthrough on top of the 2 playthroughs you already have to do. Very fun game, I must say, and it's not the last time we're going to be talking about Ratchet and Clank in this video. Then from one Insomniac game to another, we have Spider-Man Miles Morales, and I do think it is easier to do than Ratchet and Clank 2016, so I'm going to put it behind. And for this game, you can do it on any difficulty you want. You just got to know you're going to have to do 2 playthroughs, 1 regular and 1 new game plus. Again, the difficulty doesn't matter for those 2 playthroughs, and you're going to have to clear the map of all the side quests and all the side activities. Pretty straightforward platinum and nothing out of the ordinary for the PlayStation Studios games that have been coming out very recently. Here we go. Yeah, this one, Crash Bandicoot. This goes all the way up here in crushing because it is definitely one of the most difficult games we've covered on the channel. You need to get all the gems, which is really difficult for the colored gems. You need to do the gold relic time trials, thankfully not platinum, where this game would be much more difficult and probably be in the nightmare difficulty, but gold is still very challenging, and that's because the rounded polygons that they put for this game made this game very challenging and slippery. So the platforming is tough and the levels themselves are pretty tough. All this concoction makes for a very tough game. Next is Bugsnax. Very fun game. I really enjoyed this game. In terms of its difficulty, it is sort of at the bottom end of casual. It's definitely easier than Spider-Man Miles Morales, and that's simply because you cannot die in this game. Yeah, you can die. So there's not that much to worry about. And what makes it really casual instead of cakewalk is that you have to complete the whole Bugpedia. And that takes a little bit of finesse and a little bit of time capturing all these weird food creatures, or should I say food insects, that you can find in the game. And also there's a little bit of shenanigans with the multiple endings part of it, so that's contributing to this being at the bottom of casual and not quite in cakewalk. Next is LittleBigPlanet 2, and I already mentioned that this game is more difficult than the first game. Maybe not the aces part of it. I think when in terms of getting the aces, LittleBigPlanet 2 is less difficult. I do think getting the 100% collectibles in this game is less difficult, but it's way more heavy on the multiplayer and create mode stuff, especially grinding the create mode trophy that you need to do 24 hours in create mode. And this takes longer to get the plat, and that makes the overall platinum experience a little more difficult than LittleBigPlanet 1's. Also in the PlayStation Plus collection, I have Infamous Second Son, and I put it in casual. It's definitely at the very top of casual, but I wonder if I made a mistake putting it in casual, because I do feel like it could be in moderate, because you have to play this game on hard mode, and hard mode at the very beginning when you don't have upgrades is kind of difficult to deal with. But I ended up putting it in casual. I'm going to use it as the litmus test about other games, whether if they're harder than Second Son, they'll go in moderate. If they're easier than Second Son, they're going to go in casual. This is forever going to be that litmus test. But what else you need to know about this plat is you need to do 2 playthroughs, one on any difficulty, one on hard, and you'll need to do both endings, good and bad. Next we got GRIS, and GRIS sits here in cakewalk. I do think it's a little bit more difficult than Astro's Playroom. It takes just a little bit more time to do it, but some of the environment-based trophies are a little more difficult to get. It'll probably take you a couple tries to get some of them, and there's a ton of collectibles you have to worry about, and you can get a little bit lost sometimes in the environment. I definitely think it's still cakewalk. It's not that hard of a game. I don't even think you can die in this either, but it is a little bit more difficult. I'm going to put it over Astro's Playroom. We'll see if it ends up being at the top. Next, the ever divisive Cyberpunk 2077, which to this day, which is 7 months since it launched, the game is still very buggy and very glitchy, and I don't know if they ended up fixing it where that you might have glitched trophies or not. I'm not sure about that. I put it here in moderate because of all the missable trophies that this game has, which are quite a few, and the complexity of the guide as well. That just brings it down, and it takes a long time to beat this game. It takes like 80 to 110 hours. You might be able to do it faster if you use money techniques, but you'll see yourself hitting 100 if you're not using those money exploits. Nickelodeon Kart Racers. Now, this game is interesting. Where I would place it in the casual section, I do think it's easy. It's harder than Bugsnax, and I think it is more difficult than Spider-Man Miles Morales, but not more difficult than Ratchet and Clank. I think in the middle is right here. Now, when you're playing this game, you have to go through and play easy mode, normal, and hard cups. You can't just play hard mode and collect the trophies for the other two tiers. You have to play through everything. And then there's some arena mode shenanigans that you have to grind out. Everything's done in 15 hours if you don't hit any glitch trophies, but it's here in casual because it's not a very hard game. Even on hard mode, it's not that bad. The AI in this game is bonk, so don't even worry too much about hard mode racing. Now we got Crash 2, which is definitely a lot easier than the first game, for sure. The gems are way easier to get. However, I do think it's more difficult than LittleBigPlanet 2, and the time relics are very, very difficult in this game as well. It's still very challenging. I wouldn't say it's as tough as Crash 1, but it's still very challenging to get those gold time relics. Never mind the platinum ones if you're feeling saucy and you want to get those. Here we go, LittleBigPlanet 3. Now the thing you should know about this game is that you don't have to collect all 100% of the collectibles, and the create mode stuff will take you literally 10 minutes, 15 minutes at most. So that automatically drops its rating down. However, you still need to get the aces for each level, which is still a little bit difficult for some certain levels in the game. And the multiplayer aspect, where you need to do a few quests to complete the multiplayer challenges that are in the game, well, the multiplayer is broken and it's really tough to connect to people. So you're going to have to go out of your way and find some people that are going to want to do the game. And that way is much easier than trying to connect on this broken ass game. Uncharted 4. Now, this game has everything that will make for a very hard platinum trophy. It has a crushing mode playthrough, it has a speedrun trophy, and it has an accuracy trophy. So in a vacuum, looking at these three things would make it a much more difficult game. But it's here in challenging because it has cheats that'll make those things much, much easier. And I think those cheats that help alleviate the difficulty do make it easier than LittleBigPlanet in terms of going through the game. And I think it's also the easiest Uncharted game we have seen so far to get the Platinum Trophy. Mafia Definitive Edition. A lot of people tend to put this up here or up here, but I don't think that's the case. I really don't. And it's due... The only reason why people decide to put it up there is because of that one race that is very difficult playing it on Classic Mode. And Classic Mode is a little bit difficult, but there's a lot of niceties when it comes to aiming down the sights, and you can just pop in and out of cover to finish off enemies quicker. I don't think that this game is very difficult, and certainly not as difficult as everybody else makes it out to be. It just takes some time to get the collectibles after you're done the game, and if you can get through that race. That's literally it, the only difficult thing. Next we got one of the more easier games in the pantheon of Platinum Hunters games, and a very, very favorite game of mine, Spyro the Dragon. Do I think it's more difficult or less difficult than Astro? I'm gonna say for this one, yeah. I think it's more involved than Astro's Playroom when it comes to what you need to do. Although I would interchange them, but essentially get 100% of the collectibles in that game, and you don't have to worry about the skill points, so that makes it even easier. And you'll be done in about 5 or 6 hours, similar to Astro's Playroom. Battlefield 1, another PlayStation Plus collection game I have here. I think it's... The only thing stopping me from putting it lower than Cyberpunk is that you have to play on hard mode for the single player. It certainly doesn't take as much time as Cyberpunk does, but Cyberpunk lets you play on any difficulty you want. So yeah, let's set it up this way. Battlefield 1 over Cyberpunk. You do have to play on hard mode for the single player, but the multiplayer portion of it is not that involved. You just got to get everything pretty much to level 2 rank, which isn't that bad. It'll take you 10 hours if you're just playing regular. If you have the advantage of being in a 2x weekend, that'll even go faster, and you can get the Platinum Trophy even faster. Now we got the 2 games that are the most difficult on this list, for sure. You got My Name is Mayo in the Godlike tier, and then you got My Name is Mayo 2. This is a 11 out of 10 game, but I'm gonna put it in Godlike because I don't want to create another tier, so I'm just gonna put it here. But definitely these two boss rush style games. That are incredibly difficult to beat and take a lot of time to beat these games. Just due to the sheer amount of times you're going to be fighting these bosses, and definitely difficult but delicious game. But definitely a difficult and delicious duo of games. If you can get these platinums, you are a god among men. Now we got the easiest game in the Insane trilogy, and that's definitely Crash 4. Definitely harder than Cyberpunk, definitely harder than Battlefield 1. Is it harder than LittleBigPlanet 3? Those gold relics are still a bit of a challenge. So yes, I will put it in the top of the moderate. However, overall, this game is much easier to get everything, including the gems, and the gold relics are a lot more forgiving than 2 and 1. Where there's Crash, there's Spyro, and we're gonna have our Spyro game that comes here in our casual ranking, and I think it's gonna sit pretty between Spider-Man Miles Morales and Bugsnax. I do think it's a little more difficult than Bugsnax due to a couple of the trophies you have to get, like beating the bosses without getting hit. It does get easier once you complete the game. You will get something that'll make it easier, but you still have to deal with those trophies without getting hit in certain cases. And overall, it's not that hard a game. It'll be done in about 10 hours, and you don't have to worry about the skill points. Sitting here in Expert, all by his lonesome, is Streets of Rage 4. A very challenging game. And getting the plat is no joke for this game. You gotta play at least hard mode. If this game made you play on Mania mode, this would be probably up here in Nightmare or in Crushing, one of these spots. But it just settles on making you play on hard mode, in which you need to beat an arcade mode run through, which only gives you 1 life, and you need to S rank all the missions on hard mode, which is pretty difficult because you got to learn the combo system that this game has. Overall, it's pretty tough, and definitely will take some time to do, especially getting 5 million lifetime score. Alright guys, so we got 4 more left. But if you've enjoyed this video so far, let me know down in the comment section, or throw a like just to let me know you made it this far. But without further ado, we got to our easiest platinum on the show so far, and that's Spyro Year of the Dragon. Definitely the very easiest. This is a joke because you don't have to collect all the collectibles in the game. You only need enough gems to get past Moneybags. You only need enough eggs to defeat the sorceress, and then you just got a couple of trophies to do after you beat the sorceress, and that's it. Then they throw you out. They don't expect you to go back and collect everything, don't expect you to beat the boss again, and they don't expect you to do the super bonus round. So this thing is definitely the easiest thing we've covered so far. And now, from easiest to our most difficult game. I do think Returnal is more difficult of a platinum than Crash 1. Not by much, but it is, considering how much RNG there is in this game, and just by its very nature, how difficult this game is to beat. This definitely has proven that you have to push and dig deep to beat this game, especially with all the RNG elements that you have working with you or against you at any given time. But the good thing is nothing is missable in this game, so you don't have to worry about that. It's just you're at the mercy of RNG once you complete the game, and you have to run each biome to make sure you get 100% surveys. It can take a long time to do, and for me it took me 82 hours to collect everything. Next we got Skylanders Spyro's Adventure, the Toys to Life game. Thankfully, you only need the stuff from the starter pack to get the platinum trophy. The game is more fun if you do have a figure. Wait, one sec. This is from Imaginators, but you get the idea. if you have a figure of each type, each element type, it will make the game more fun because you can access more of the content. But if you don't, you just need the starter pack figures to make sure you get everything you need for the platinum, which means you don't have to 100% complete everything. The thing that makes this more difficult than anything in the casual section, including Infamous Second Son, I did say I'm going to use that as a litmus test, is there is some difficult level trophies that you have to worry about. And I do think, should I put it at the bottom of moderate, or it kind of just goes over the edge into moderate. I think it's less complex than Cyberpunk, so I think I'm going to keep it here at the bottom of the moderate category, thanks to those skill testing level-based trophies that some of them are just going to give you a run for your money. And then lastly, our very latest game to join the pantheon of Platinum Hunters trophy guides is Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Phenomenal game. Don't get me wrong, phenomenal, but very easy plat and kind of a little bit underwhelming. It's not disappointing like Spyro Year of the Dragons. I talk about that in the video, but it is underwhelming. And do I think it's more difficult than Astro's Playroom? Yes, I think so. Do I think it's more difficult than Spyro? Yes, I think so too. Maybe not GRIS. I'm gonna put it here. It's gonna sit under its 2016 counterpart up there. But what makes this game sit in the cakewalk section instead of the casual or anything higher is the fact that you don't have to worry about challenge mode. You literally need to play 15 minutes of it. You don't have to collect everything, including the gold bolts. And there's one missable trophy that you have to worry about. There used to be two, but Insomniac made the patch and only made it so you have to worry about just one missable trophy. That's kind of hard to miss in the first place. So that's that. And this is our list so far. Like I said, I would love to do this live when we have our next 25 episodes join in, and that way we can take this exact list right here and put the new 25 games into the list, and we'll see how it shakes up. Let me know down in the comments section what you think of my ranking of these games in terms of difficulty, and let me know if you'd move any parts around or you'd move something up a tier or down a tier. Let me know. I just want to hear what you guys think, and next time when we do this live, you have your input into this list here. I will see you guys in the next video. I hope you guys have a great day and great trophy hunting expeditions. Peace out.